Hello, welcome to today's class. Um, Today we are going to be discussing essay writing. Um, this is going to be a two-part class, so I will dis- do. So we will have next class. Okay. So in this lesson, we are going to talk about how to write an essay, types of essays, essay structure, and we're just going to briefly discuss the narrative essay. Okay, so this is probably not the first time you're hearing about an essay, and they usually come in middle school, high school, and college, and sometimes you have to write essays in the business world, and usually they're called reports at that level. So, an essay is basically defined as a short piece of writing that expresses information as well as the writer's opinion. Essays can sometimes be written for leisure or just as a way of expressing how someone feels. So, sometimes your essays might not be prompted by schoolwork, and it might just be your way of expressing yourself. Right. Yeah. So, um, in some situations, you might hear an essay being called a composition. Do not be confused. Um, um, right. So, your essays can also be called compositions. This is a quote by William Shakespeare, just for fun. The pen is mightier than the sword, so usually this means like whatever you write kind sometimes most of the time carries more weight than your actions. And the different types of essays that students might write, and your content length of an essay of your essay depends on your level of study, your subject study, and the course requirements. This is particularly for students at the university level. And most times, essays at the university level are argumentative, that is, they aim to persuade the reader of a particular position or perspective on a topic. So, I just checked this in. The essay writing process, it's really important that we all know the process of writing an essay. So, the essay writing process consists of three main stages. The first being preparation. This has to do with deciding on your topic, doing your research, and creating an essay outline or a guide. The second is writing. This has to do with setting out your argument in the introduction, developing it with evidence in the main body, and wrapping it up with a conclusion. So, it's really important for you to take note of these three words that I'm going to highlight in a second. I'm going to come across them a bit later on in this class, so it's pretty important that you note them. Okay, so last but not least, third step is revision, and this entails cross-checking your content, your organization, grammar, spelling, and formatting of your essay. You have to be sure to avoid plagiarism. Okay, so the essay writing process of preparation, writing, and revision applies to every essay, but the time and effort spent on each stage differs depending on the type of essay. So, for instance, when you have to write like 5 paragraph expository essay, again, important to note, you have to spend most of your time on the writing stage, and for a college level argumentative essay, just gonna highlight that right there. You have to spend more time researching the topic and developing an original argument before you start writing. Okay, so in that case, you have to spend more time on your research and developing your original argument before you actually start your writing. Okay, so steps to writing an essay. So the first step is choosing the type of essay, and this is essential because it's going to determine the mood, structure, tone, and content of your essay. For example, if you're going to write a descriptive essay, it will have to focus on if the details of an event, meaning it's going to be very full of lots and lots of vivid detail that are going to keep your audience captivated and engaged. Secondly, you have to brainstorm your topic or your subject. Brainstorming generally is a process of coming up with an essay topic. So you can do this by creating clusters, or you could use clouds. I'm just going to illustrate here. So you could have this is going to be your topic, right? So, sorry, I'm not a professional at this. So that's going to be topic, and I'm going to change the color for your so, okay. Okay, so these are the ideas, this is the illustration. This is going to be a topic, so whatever your topic is, this is an idea, another idea, another idea. So this is an example of brainstorming. Yes. Okay, so now I think one. So 3 is researching on your topic. So you're going to need evidence if you're writing, let's say you're writing an argumentative essay. You're going to need evidence to support your claims. And yeah, part of that brainstorming is also incorporated with this step, because you're going to have to reason to develop your ideas and connect your claims and evidence. The other thing which is going to lead us to, so basically you're just going to find more information about your chosen topic. Then your writing style is either dictated by your teacher or your topic. So depending on your writing style, you're going to need a stylistic or persuasive element or elements to add power to the idea you want to express, which is going to lead us to developing a thesis. So your main point, which is essentially what your essay is about, is what you have to develop at this stage. You're going to have to make, this could also be called a topic sentence. Everything in your essay is eventually going to point back to this particular thing. right? So your main point is very, very important. So everything you do is going to, whatever you write about in your introduction, is going to lead back to this, your main point. So moving on, you have to develop an outline of your essay. You develop an outline of the features that you're going to analyze in the essay. It's basically a skeleton of how you want your paper to go, and it usually helps you have a totally logical and really organized essay, and it also helps you have flow. It gives you the space to, like, you could note certain areas that you want to add some elements. Again, your writing style incorporated in this. You could note like a particular stage where you want to use figurative language or irony or metaphor. Okay, so you shouldn't spend forever writing your outline. Technically, you should spend, let's say, in like an exam situation, you're probably going to need to spend like 10 minutes so you don't waste too much time, right? So 8 minutes is fine to develop your outline in an exam situation. So, and the best part, which is writing your essay. So you have to expand your outline, and your goal at this stage is to write a very interesting and cohesive essay that demonstrates your use and command of standard written English. So you have to use, depending on the type of essay, you your vocabulary is important. It has to be creative and in concord with your essay, and then you're going to have to revise your work thoroughly. So, when you're writing your essay, to demonstrate your proficiency, if that's in an exam situation, you're going to have to employ precise word choice. You have to maintain your style, a constant and appropriate style and tone, and use a variety of sentence structures. It's going to be really important. So then the last stage, you're gonna have to do checking. You're gonna have to check. You have to check your spelling, grammar, and clarity. So in an exam situation, sometimes a few spelling grammar mistakes won't harm your score, but it's better to avoid those things. So it's sometimes, if necessary, you proofread your essay by yourself, or if it's more of like an assignment where you can have contribution of others, you can ask someone to help you proofread your essay. Also, just to, avoid stuff like plagiarism. And yeah, in an exam situation, on this part, you have to make sure you spend about like 2 minutes or so on it, not too long. So, essay structure. These are the words I highlighted a couple of slides ago. As an introduction, a body, and a conclusion. So we're going to dive into that. These three are the standard essay structure, the parts of standard essay structure. And sadly, the most difficult part of structuring an essay is deciding how to organize information within the body. And believe me, it pretty much sounds easy when you look at the steps. But when in reality it's not that easy. It can be extremely tricky. So there are two main themes to keep in mind when you're working on your essay structure, and that is firstly making sure to include the right information in each part and deciding how you're going to organize the information within the body. So, this is a table that demonstrates the content of each part of the essay structure. So the introduction presents the topic, provides a background, it gives your thesis statement or main point or topic sentence. The body has your core argument or analysis, presents your evidence, for example, quotes, citations, your main point. Your main point has to be one per paragraph. That's very important. This is a really important rule because there's like a main point of like the essay, right? Which is what we talked about here, right? If you remember, we talked about this. So, you could, every essay kind of has, every paragraph rather, has its own main point, but each main point or topic sentence should relate to the initial main point. So each paragraph has to start with a topic sentence which embodies the main point. And last but not least, the conclusion. It ties together your main points. That is everything that was mentioned throughout the essay. And it demonstrates why your argument matters, right? So that was a breakdown of the types of essays, of the essay structure, basic essay structure. This is type of essay. These are the types of essays. So we have different types of essays, and they're mainly defined in 4 categories, but there are others, which we will probably discuss in the second part of this class, right? So, first of all, we have the argumentative essay, expository, descriptive, and narrative essays. So, argumentative and expository essays are focused on conveying information and making clear points, while narrative and descriptive essays are about exercising creativity and writing in an interesting way. So, like I mentioned at the beginning of the class, at university level, you have argumentative essays being the most common type of essay. So, in college or university, you will also have to write textual analysis essays, which test your skills in close reading and interpretation. So, we will discuss this type of essay in detail in our next class. So this table is, I take table credit from Scribner.com. It's basically breaking down the essay types. So argumentative essays, they test your formation, your ability to form an opinion and to build an evidence-based argument. An example is, has the rise of the internet had a positive or negative impact on education? So let's say I am writing this statement now. This essay, this question or prompt, I'm going to have to take stand, and for instance, I'm going to say yeah, I believe it has a positive impact on education. So, um, basically, I will be writing an essay to convince my reader, who probably doesn't even have the same view as I do, why my view should be considered by that person. So, the expository essay tests your knowledge of a topic and communication of information clearly. So, the example prompt explain how the invention of the printing press changed European society in the 15th century. So, um, first of all, I'm going to need lots of research if I don't already know about this, and I will have to be precise with what I'm writing. I can't just go off on a whim or a feeling of what happened. So I'm gonna read in depth and give give my own view, but not without the facts in place. Then next we deal with the narrative essay. This employs the skills of creative language usage and presentation of a compelling narrative. I mean, it's pretty much easy to we basically narrate every day when you're telling your best friend what happened. You could be telling your sibling or your parent something. So you're narrating something that happened, but writing, when it comes to writing, it's kind of different. So you're just like going to be more specific, and it's reading, and not everyone really likes reading. So you have to find a way to write in such a way that keeps your reader engaged, and they have to be like at the epicenter of the plot of what you're writing about. So, if I'm to write an essay about an experience where I learned something about myself, um, yeah, I could start with like a basic background tip. Don't just disclose everything at the beginning of the essay. Sometimes a little suspense is good. It keeps your readers on their feet and keeps their attention on you. Yeah. Lastly, we have the descriptive essay. It also tests the skill of creative language use and description of sensory details. This means you're supposed to make the reader feel like they're there. So, let's say I'm to write a descriptive essay about my visit to the park. I'm going to have to give details like how did the bench look? What was it made of? How did my feet feel when I was walking in the grass? The reader's supposed to be able to envisage what was there without actually being there. So, for example, if I'm describing an object that has sentimental value for me, I could be talking about a bracelet my grandmother gave me and how important it is, or something that my cousin gave me while we were at the beach, you know? So I gotta give detail, like the seashell my cousin gave me at the beach. It was this color, it was this size, has to be specific, you know? Yeah. So, brief, really brief overview of the narrative essay. So, a narrative essay tells a story, and the main point or the main purpose of this type of essay is to tell a compelling story that's gonna captivate whoever is reading. And It actually, like I said, seems easy, but telling the story in written form is really challenging. So it's written from the first person perspective, right? And you have to put the readers at the epicenter of the plot and keep them engaged. And again, to achieve this, you gotta use lots of details, vivid details, and the descriptive technique. So look at the crossover if you remember. If you ever forget, so remember, oh, am I okay? Sorry about that. So if you ever forget, um, never forget that the narrative and descriptive essays are close. Not the same thing, but they both involve great detail and great creativity, while argumentative and expository essays convey information, facts, and make clear points. Right, so that's everything for today. Thank you for attending the class. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know and I will gladly attend to them. Thank you, and see you next time.